Hey guys, welcome to Crammin for the Examin. This is something I've been trying to put together for honestly like 15, 20 years. I made something like this, a little document about how to study and how to test take a long time ago because I saw a lot of people struggling in college. And ever since then, even in high school, people are crying during their tests. They're studying all week. And then the test comes and they're staying in there for an hour and a half, 2 hours in college, and they're crying. Okay, so I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I can't pay attention. I'm up pacing a room. I'm drawing a piece of paper while I'm in class. I can't make eye contact with the teacher. I'm the worst student ever. Okay, but but I'm still good at taking tests and I'm good at studying. Okay, I want to give you this information so you don't have to stress. I think multiple choice tests are almost useless when you get into the real world. But in order to get to the real world, oftentimes you have to take these multiple choice tests. Of course, you do still have to take multiple choice tests when you're in certain careers like mine. You have to take annual tests and multiple choice tests and stuff, but it's just for like continuing education. But I got to the point where I I'm not smarter than anyone. I would just take a test much quicker. I was much more confident. I never stressed about it. I never sweated a test in college, even in high school. I just figured something out. But I didn't figure it out because I'm a genius. I figured it out because I'm super lazy. I would procrastinate like crazy. I would wait till the very last second to study for anything. But if you do that enough times, you start to learn how to study and test take more efficiently and working on quality instead of quantity of studying. And it's paid off for me. And the proof is in the pudding for me. I'm not qualified for with any credentials. Why would you listen to me? Don't. But if you want to just, why not throw it out there and see what this guy's talking about? I promise you, I have no warranty on what I can give you. But when I tell you studying and test taking is a skill that once you figure it out, which I'm going to hopefully provide you with this ability, it's just another thing. Any information doesn't matter. Content doesn't matter. Give me it. Ham radio, got it. Life insurance claim, whatever adjuster, give it to me. And it does. The content doesn't matter. If you follow the process, it's just putting the files in your brain, sitting down, you're regurgitating them back out again. No stress. I'm only confident because I've done it so many times and I've tried it so many times. And no matter the content, I've proven it over and over again to myself. So enough jammering on. This will be called Crammin for the Examin because I cram for exams, okay? I hope this helps you. It should be pretty short and concise. And without further ado, Crammin for the Examin.
Cramming for the examen. Studying for a test shouldn't be left to the night before. Information should be studied multiple times for several days in order to successfully pass a test. Paying attention in class and staying organized are paramount for succeeding in college. But if you happen to fall into a category of people that do none of those things, or just under the gun and only have a day to study for a big test, this guide will change your life. And no, I don't mean your hair will grow back or your acne will go away. I mean your anxiety for studying and test taking will be a thing of the past, freeing up your mind to enjoy your school or your life. These tips and tricks will force your mind to remember things through repetition from writing, visualization, mnemonic devices, and verbally reciting the content. Preparation. Home is where you make it. Quality of time studying is what matters the most, not quantity. My favorite spot was locked in a room with loud music so I couldn't hear small distractions. This location should not be around all your favorite things. You can't have your children in the next room so you can't hear them. You can't have your dog sitting on your lap. You can't be in a high traffic room where people will walk past you. Rooms with windows or without windows are okay, but preferably the room with the least amount of visual stimuli would be best. This also isn't a classroom, so if you really want to put quality time in, you must make yourself comfortable. Another reason you want to be comfortable is twofold. Number one, you're going to be there for many hours. Number two, you're trying to make an enjoyable experience for yourself so the next time you have to study, you won't have that many aversions to the pain of studying. You can use a bedroom and sit down in the bed with tons of pillows or on a couch, etc. Also, make sure the bathroom is close by for obvious reasons. Noise, 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 noise. The reason this is important is because time is of the essence and your focus must be streamlined. You can control the noise you hear by putting on headphones or closing a door and blasting your favorite music. You can also put earplugs in, which will do the same effect audibly to drown out extraneous noise. My personal preference is music because it's another way for me to enjoy the pain of studying just a little bit. But I don't listen to nice music. Consider upbeat, repetitious, and loud as possible without hurting your ears. It also subconsciously keeps your autonomic nervous system revved up and keeps your mind active. This is all to keep your mind more focused, more intensely on what you're studying. Supplies! Grab whatever books, study guides, index cards, blank legal notepads, notes from class, pens, highlighters, markers, your computer, etc. that you need. Antsy pants. Bring food and drink in with you so you don't make useless trips getting up to forage for snacks. Set intervals to check your phone, like every 45 minutes or longer if you can, because we all know we can't live without our phones. Check it for around 5 minutes and get back to work. And don't make your gut reaction to call people from your class for anything that is hard to figure out. This is your mountain to conquer, and you should do it alone. Anytime you wait for them to respond and your mind gets off track waiting for said answer is wasted time. It's crunch time. This is what I call the mental filing cabinet. Naughty and nice, like Santa Claus list. Time to start writing down a list of everything you need to know. This includes things you already know and need to know. Either a long list or index cards. Index cards, you can just write the answer on the flip side. The trick here is repetition of handwriting the questions and answers. This should be the word or topic you need to know and its definition. Don't separate them on different index cards. Your mind does better always correlating them together. Figaro! As you think you understand a topic, you must be able to recite it out loud. Just by the nature of you writing these things will automatically help you understand many of the topics or definitions you are studying. But the finishing touch before crossing off a topic or putting a card aside is saying it out loud, ensuring your mind is confident enough to speak it. You must be able to close your eyes and recite anything you need to know out loud about each item before you can move forward. This replicates being asked a question and you reciting the answer. Saying it in a matter-of-fact voice, an almost cocky voice, helps too. It makes you more confident in your material. The breakup. Once you memorize something and can recite it with your eyes closed, don't look at it again. Mark it off your list and keep moving forward. Putting a card aside or crossing it off a definition after memorizing it frees up your mind, allowing you to move forward to the next topic. Make a pile of cards you already know and never need to look at again and put them aside. Repeat and repeat. Now that you've crossed off everything you know or thrown cards into the known pile, it's time to start over again. Only the new list only has material you don't know. These lists can be created as many times as you require. Sometimes it may take up to 2 lists or 10 lists, depending on the amount of material or difficulty to master your information. Always focus on what you don't know. Don't keep trying to impress yourself by reciting things you already know. As you spend the time writing smaller and smaller lists, you will be left with only a few things that you really need to study. This holds true with nearly any material that is put in front of you, regardless of the topic. This repetitious method weeds through the common sense information that can be memorized, merely by writing, reciting, and visualizing. The leftover information is most often like 5% of the content and is actually worth spending time on. This saves you from spending time on studying all of the content and focusing on your precious cramming time on that 5% that actually matters. Moronic mnemonic. Using mnemonic devices could be one of the most useful studying tricks I use when the repetitious method doesn't apply. When that list method leaves you with 5% that can't be memorized and needs some real brain power, use mnemonic devices. Many times you need to know a list of things that are put into a specific category. An example would be the bones in the feet, tarsals, metatarsals, and phalanges. Write them down like this. There, just write them down, tarsals, metatarsals, and phalanges like this. Use the first letter of each word or phrase, T, M, and P. Now, this is where you can use your imagination. Make new words that start with T, M, and P, something you will remember. My new phrase will be something like too much poop. Now, when you take tests, specifically multiple choice, you get a blank piece of paper. Your job, before even looking at the test, is to write down all your mnemonic devices on that paper. Only write down the first letter from your new, sometimes effed up, phrase, too much poop, like this. T, M, P. Now, fill in the actual word at this time. Tarsals, metatarsals, phalanges. But if you can't remember all of them, don't worry. A lot of the time, all you need during the test is the first letter to jog your memory. So my blank piece of paper will initially be filled while all of my acronyms and mnemonic devices I came up with that only I would remember, such as IMP, TORO, CSEF, etc., but truly make the fake words idiotic, funny, and crude. If you do, they will stick in your mind way easier. After all, this is a brain hack. Now you see the importance of these mnemonic devices. In a midterm or final, I have to put down anywhere from 20 to 30 mnemonic devices. Test taking is only check marks on a piece of paper or computer clicks, so I like to organize my memory and paper given to me like a filing cabinet. That way I can refer to that sheet during the test like a cheat sheet. P.S. This can be done in one night for pretty much any amount of information. May take up to 4 to 8 hours depending on the amount of info. Much better in my eyes than 2 weeks that my college classmates would take studying and stressing out for the same information. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Cheater, cheater. Now get your sheet of paper and write down all your mnemonic devices. This is the most important part, so take your time and get them all down as best you can. College professors specifically allow you a blank sheet of paper for exams. To me, that is like giving me all the answers to the test. Big mistake, professor. Gingerbread man. Now start your test. Read your instructions completely. After reading the instructions, go through every question and mark any answers you know. Do not waste any more than a moment thinking about any question. Just mark what you know and move on. Refer as many questions as you need to the paper with your mnemonic devices on it. Catch a tiger by his toe. Any questions that you narrow down to 2 answers, circle both, for example, A and C, and move on. Do not waste any time trying to figure it out right away. Just keep moving. A lot of the times, a question you are having trouble with on question, say, number 3, can be answered on question, number 45. A lot of the time, information overlaps, and if it doesn't directly give you the answer, it will jog your memory. Now that you have gone through every question you know and you made it to the end of the test, you can focus on the questions you narrowed down to 2 answers. One more time to kill the pain. Start the whole test over again. The second time around, you should be able to blow through most of these questions you left for yourself between 2 answers. Again, don't waste time on them. Just go one to the next and go through the whole test a second time. The second run, you will see at how the undecided questions just come to you. At the very end, you may be left with 2 to 3 questions that actually require some heavy thought. So after you finish going through the test a second time, start around 3. You can take a little more time on round 3, but just like a minute or two. Just like studying, breeze through the stuff you know and focus on the stuff you don't. At this point, you'll be pleasantly surprised that every test you take, regardless of the content, will leave you with a guaranteed roughly 93 or higher, at least in my classes, without even trying to answer the tough questions at the end. But if you feel compelled to try for 100%, take your time on those last ones. Float like a butterfly. In my experience, despite taking my time to write my mnemonic devices down, I would finish college exams in roughly 30 minutes, while other students would take over an hour to an hour and a half to finish their exams. The look on your fellow students' faces as you walk out of the exam, as they're just getting warmed up, is something you might like to get used to. You can see it's a bit of confusion, anger, and jealousy. And even more so when you receive your grade back and you walk out like you just dropped the mic knowing you killed that test. P.S. I believe these tips and tricks should be taught to all students in school. I've since used this test taking skill and applied it outside of college very successfully. Use this system and certain aspects of your life will get much easier. Just make sure to show other people this and share this with anyone you think this would help. I really want to thank you guys so much if you made it this far, and I hope, and I really mean this, I hope you crush all these multiple choice exams from now on. Now, I have this in a document form in my Patreon. I don't know how else to actually have you guys support me other than this Patreon, and they only do these subscriptions. So if you use this technique and it really has value to you and it adds value to your life, if you do want to show support and come back to my Patreon and show support through there and do the subscription, the documents in there to download. But I really mean this. If it only shows you value, I really appreciate you guys. I've been meaning to do this for a long, long, long time, and I truly want anyone and everyone to be as stress-free when it comes to something as simple as a multiple choice test. Thanks again.